Hello, it is me, Gene again, for the third video in this evening. I'm tired, so I'm going to try to be brief as a long-winded person like myself can be. Anyway, you may be wondering, why are we staring at Inuyasha? One, because I have nothing in my apartment related to the topic that I wanted to discuss, so I chose the closest thing. Inuyasha and Kagome, a couple who did indeed eventually kiss. I kind of wish I had the Prince song right now, but alas, this is what happens when you don't have a computer to make proper videos on. Anyway, I am making this video because I am responding to articles that have come out a few days ago about a certain Disney song from Little Mermaid, the romantic song, the love theme from that movie, Kiss the Girl, is apparently got some people triggered. What doesn't get people triggered these days? So, to make a long story short, there are some who feel that, there's a few articles about this, there are some who feel that the song does not promote consent, right? That it's that it's misogynistic because it's not overtly promoting consent, and that it's encouraging Eric to kiss the girl, right? Because of lyrics such as, she won't say a word, you got to kiss the girl, and whatnot. And apparently there is a cappella group, the Tiger Tones, in Princeton, who, in response to an article or a column written in the Princetonian, have decided to not perform the song until everyone is comfortable, so they say. You stop performing a 30-year-old, because that movie came out in 1989 and we're a few weeks away from 2019, so 30 years. You've decided to stop performing a 30-year-old song that was never an issue until now because of one person's column in the article, in the Princetonian, claiming that the song is misogynistic and, doesn't respect a woman's right to refuse a man's advances and all this other BS, quite frankly. And here's why I say complaints like this are just BS. Because complaints like this, and I'm not saying you have to like the song. I'm not particularly impressed by the song. I'm not a big fan of that movie. Like, of all the Disney Renaissance films, Little Mermaid is the one I like the least. And the only good song in that movie to me, the only two good songs is probably Under the Sea and then Poor Unfortunate Souls, which is personally my favorite track because I actually have the voice to sing that song. I can actually belt out a few notes for that song. So, those are about the only two that I actually care about for that movie. But that does not mean, just because I personally am not a fan of the film, that the film has any evil or dark messages, or in the case of Kiss the Girl, is trying to encourage a man to be forceful or to not respect a woman's boundaries. First of all, you have to consider the context of the film and why this is happening in the first place, because you need to look at the actual scene, right? Ariel not Ariel herself, Sebastian, Flounder, Ariel's friends are trying to create this very serene, romantic mood for Eric and Ariel, right? Why? Because they want Eric to kiss the girl. There's actually a point early in the song where Sebastian quite literally whispers into Eric's ear, "Kiss the girl." Again, why? Because Ariel wants to be kissed by Eric. There's actually one part where she thinks it's going to happen and she puckers up. How much more of a sign do you need? How much more non-verbal communication do you need, especially in a Disney film, that the girl wants to be kissed by the guy? She puckers up, fully anticipating the kiss, right? But he doesn't kiss her because, as the song says, he's shy, right? Oh, he's so shy, he ain't gonna kiss the girl. He's gonna miss the girl. The song itself is about encouraging a shy guy to make the first move. Why? Because he likes the girl, right? Eric likes Ariel. Ariel likes Eric. She makes it pretty clear throughout the whole film that she likes Eric. Heck, if you look at the sequence for Poor Unfortunate Souls, whose image does Ursula use to convince Ariel to make the stupidest deal in the world and give up her voice to go beyond land and have legs? Eric. She uses Eric's image because that is in part, I'm not going to say it's the only thing, but Eric is in part what Ariel wants, what her heart desires. She has a crush on the guy. She's in love with him. She wants him to kiss her. He wants to kiss her. The problem is, they're both too shy to make the first move. So, Sebastian, Flounder, and all of Ariel's little sea friends are trying to set the mood and create a situation where they can have their first kiss. Not just because they both want it and are both too scared to actually make that first move, but because if she doesn't experience the kiss of true love in 3 days, as is per Ursula's terms, then Ariel will lose her voice forever, and I think what happens is either she'll never be allowed, stay human for good, or she becomes like one of what's her face? I keep saying Ariel. One of Ursula's little, squiggly, ugly things, like those little things. One of her minions, I guess you could say. I forget exactly what the punishment is, because I know the kiss doesn't happen. What's her face? Ursula takes the form of a human and she tries to seduce Eric and floats him and jets him. Break up the kiss the girl scene before they can actually kiss. So I know for certain, I haven't seen the movie in years, but I know for certain that they don't kiss at that point, and it leads to Ariel, at the moment, losing everything. But still, the point of this scene, like getting back to the point of this whole thing, the point of the scene is that it's not about not getting consent. She's giving consent. She's puckering up for a kiss. The song is about is about encouraging a shy guy to make the move on a girl who likes him, who's just as shy and nervous as he is about making the first move. The scene is about helping two people who are, again, incredibly shy but obviously like each other, make the first move. The song is not misogynistic. It's not saying to flout consent or not get consent. When has anyone ever said, oh, he just up and kissed me without my consent because he watched a Disney film? Seriously, this movie is almost 30 years old. Imagine walking up to a 30-year-old man, humming a, beautiful, innocent, romantic song to himself that happens to be about kissing a girl. And then just going up to him and ranting, going, you misogynist pig! You misogynist pig! You don't want a woman's consent! You just want to walk up and kiss her! It's like, what the heck? I couldn't imagine walking up to a guy at any age and accusing him of such a thing over a song. I can't imagine accusing an actual song of such a thing when it's clear from the song's lyrics and from where it fits in the movie that not getting consent and being forceful or trying to commit sexual assault, which is how some people who complain about this act, is the point. It's like, that's the furthest thing from what the song or that scene in the movie is trying to do. It's like, sometimes I seriously want to ask people who complain about this. It's like, did you listen to Sex Type Thing by the Stone Temple Pilots and confuse that with this song? Because Sex Type Thing and Kiss the Girl are two entirely different songs with a different sound, different premise, different meaning. One song actually is about rape and is sung from the perspective of the rapist. The other song is a light, romantic number encouraging a guy to kiss a girl who obviously wants to be kissed by him. Guess which song is which? The fact that I have to actually explain this, and the fact that this is even a thing, is just astounding to me. You would have thought that 30 years after the movie, we'd be better off, and you wouldn't have to point out that this is not a bad song. It reminds me somewhat of when I remember hearing some people I should say, saying that Girl Worth Fighting For from Mulan was sexist. Yes, because a bunch of soldiers on a long march singing about, their ideal woman and what they want to come home to is so sexist. Guys putting a girl on a pedestal is so sexist. There's only like one sexist moment in that song, which is when they're like, where Mulan, of course, impersonating a guy, she's like, what about a girl who's got a brain and always speaks her mind? And the guys are like, nah. That scene is played for comedy. It's not meant to be taken seriously. But of course, you have people in the outraged crowd who take every little thing seriously, such as the woman who wrote the article in the Princetonian accusing an all-male a cappella group of being sexist and misogynist and encouraging all types of ills because of singing a Disney song from 30 years ago. More importantly, and here's the part that I think all of us, regardless of what we're triggered or not triggered by, should remember, is that a policy of appeasement, which is what the Tiger Tones did, and which I think is to their era and to the school's era and to Princeton University's era, and just an era in general. A policy of appeasement never appeases. Okay, you can look at history. You can look at how a policy of appeasement really actually did lead to Hitler's rise in power. I actually really hate to bring up Hitler because, calling someone a Nazi is just like one of those knee-jerk reactions, but I bring it up only in the historical context. The policy of appeasement really is what allowed Hitler to gather more land and solidify his base of power in Germany in the 30s, because nobody wanted to oppose him. Nobody wanted to stop him. People at the time were just thinking, well, just give him what he wants, right? Whether it be a maniacal dictator, whether it be a child, whether it be a progressive outrage warrior, you do not appease them. All appeasement does is embolden them, fuel them. There has to come a point where you stand your ground and say, no, this is not an issue. This is not a problem. I'm not going to bow and censor myself or stop doing this or apologize for that or whatever it is just because you, one person, are offended. Especially in this case where there's no reason for offense. If you look at the song in context, if you take context into it, it's easy to see that there's nothing wrong with this song. It's a romantic little medley that people have loved for 3 decades now, and that will far outlive this outrage warrior culture that we're currently in. But the only way it will do that is if at some point, whether individually or collectively, people who are sensible, people who are reasonable, stop kowtowing and stop appeasing the unappeasable. You can't make them happy. You can't give in to what they want, because what they want is not what you think they want. The person, again, I cannot read their mind, but having read and seen many articles and videos and whatnot on the demands of progressive, regressive progressives and the outrage warrior crowd, what they want is never what they say it is. They don't want you, how do I put it? It's not that your words offend them, or the jokes offend them, or the song offends them. They use that as a catalyst to get what they really want, which is you to submit to them. Whenever an artist censors a song that they don't want to censor, or in the case of the Tiger Tones, they stop performing the song because one person complained. It isn't about the song, because this person could have easily chose any other song. This person could have chosen Savages in Pocahontas because it uses, offensive language, right? Referring to the natives as red demons, for example. Could have used that. Could have used any song that you can make look bad out of context. It's not that they want the song to be censored, or that they want this to be cleaned up, or the joke to not be as offensive. What they want is the person who they're going after to kneel to them, to kowtow to them, to bow to them, to submit to them. There are times when, yes, you should be submissive. This is not one of them. Do not be submissive to an unreasonable person. Do not be submissive to an outrage warrior. All that does is embolden them. You do not appease. We need to stop going with this, policy of appeasement in hopes that, taking the path of least resistance, if we just do what they want, then it won't be a fight. Yeah, there will. Because it's not going to go away. Just like with Hitler, there was ultimately a fight. The very fight that the nations of the world at the time were trying to avoid by appeasing Hitler came to pass. The Second World War happened. And by that point, Hitler was a much more powerful dictator. And he was doing a lot more damage in Germany and across all of Europe and to the Jewish people than he was doing years earlier when he was weaker. This is one of those things where you have to nip it in the bud, and you nip it in the bud by not bowing. I will not bow. You don't bow to these people. You don't bow. You don't apologize. So, to the Tiger Tones, please reverse this decision to not perform the song. Perform the song so long as your audience is willing to listen to it, and so long as you are comfortable singing the song. Waiting for everyone to be comfortable is not going to help you. It's one of those things where you're so inoffensive, you offend everybody. You cannot please everyone. Trying to please everyone pleases no one. Stick to your guns, stick to your base. If you truly feel that this song has no issue with it, there's no problem with it, keep performing it. Don't let a regressive, progressive, outrage warrior extremist win. Because every time they win, they get emboldened that much more, and they become much, much, much more difficult to defeat. Defeat them now when they're weak, and you defeat them now by not giving in to them. Don't listen to them. Tell them to bug off. Right, to quote one of my favorite Guns N' Roses song, "It's so easy. It's so easy. Nothing ever seems to please you. So F off." Actually, I think the line is something to the effect, I'm trying to remember. See me hit you, you fall down. I see you standing there. Ah, here it goes. You think you're so cool. Why don't you just bug off? No, I'm censoring it because I don't like to swear. But that's me. That's me. But basically, that's what you gotta do. You gotta tell them. You think you're cool, you think you're big and bad? Bug off. I don't care what you think. Anyway, I'm done rambling on this video, and I think I've done enough horrible singing. So I hope anybody who sees this has a nice night. I may make some more videos over the weekend. We'll see. Have a good evening.